Okay, so today we are going to start with the object-oriented concept. Before going to start with that, is anybody have any idea regarding OOPS concept or any object-oriented concept?
Actually, your voice is low.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Is it okay for all of you? Okay, I guess it's all right then.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm starting then.
Yeah, obviously.
So everyone, do you have any idea regarding object-oriented concept? Any kind of? Okay. Can anyone tell me what is variable? Nirja, tell me what is variable?
Yes, it's a component like
Okay. It's a container. Yeah, you're right. So in OOPS from the definition, basically, we can check that there is a one concept that is object. So anybody from four of you can tell me what is the difference between a object and a variable? If you have any idea, just guess it. No need to be right. Rishabh, any idea?
Sir, variable is independent and object is related to class. Means suppose that we are defining a class A, then that class will be having some methods and variables, and object will be we can say object is a skeleton for for
No,
a particular
object
thing.
is not a skeleton. That's other concept. No issue. Uh, okay, no issue. So all of you, do you have any idea regarding any theoretical idea? I just no need to have the vast or any practical idea. Any idea regarding OOPS concept? I think you all have gone through with this thing. Object-oriented concept. Okay. It's done. Object-oriented programming. If someone asks you or anyone asks you that what is the difference between object and variable, you can see basically a object is nothing but a variable. Okay, the object is also holds the value. If you have any idea regarding OOPS concept, then you can relate with that. Otherwise, I will show everything. A object can also hold the value like a variable does. But then what is the difference? Why we need to represent a language as object-oriented concept? The main part is a object has multiple properties or some kind of properties we can say. Using or implementing these properties, basically, we can do some kind of experiment or some kind of style or some kind of representation beyond in our normal procedure programming system. All you have idea in procedure program system? Anyone? Okay, can you tell me what is procedure? Have you heard about function? Do you know what is function? All of you.
Yes.
The function, another synonym is procedure. Okay, in assembly language or machine level language, the function is modified. The name is modified to the procedure system, or sometimes you may be heard subroutines, but no issue. So the main basically then why we require this object oriented stuff rather than the procedure stuff. Simple things is to make the programming very easy. In procedure system, we are not able to use the same thing again and again. Okay, there is one drawback. Now you can ask me that we have the function. We can call the function in multiple times, right? But are we going to that function? Are we going to use that particular function multiple times with separate functionality? Is it possible using the procedure system? It is obviously no, because you all know that a function is defined with only one functionality in normal system, right? Next, when does the function, the properties or the function of function is done? Basically, when the function returns is its value, then the functionality of that particular function is completed. Okay, am I clear to all of you? So then now I have one question to all of you, just a quick question, that some of the function you already have seen that it does not return any value. So what would be the case in that position or in that system? Devjina, what would be the scenario in that in that case?
That will be quite
Nijat, you are not clear. Basically, I'm not able to hear you properly.
quite
Void. I did not get it. You can write in the chat section as well. I can check it from here. And other than Nijat, anyone? Devjina, are you there? Hello, Devjina. Okay, so basically, when a function does not return the value, by default, it returns the void. Okay, so Nijat, from the function definition, it is defined that a function always return a value. So what is the case of the void function? Basically, it returns the void value. Okay, void is a special kind of data type. So that is the one part. Now relate with this. Now relate with this object concept or object procedure, object oriented concept. In object oriented concept, the main purpose it is developed, that is a same code, we don't need to write it again and again. We can create some portion, we can use it at which whenever we required. Next is a object oriented system may have several characteristics. Using the characteristics, it makes a programming very easy and a sophisticated way that would be understandable and that would be efficient to as well as that programming or as well as that app what we are going to build, as well as that a programmer. Cool. Now comes to that object concept. A object is similar. Another synonym of the object is reference variable. You can take it. So a object is a variable. A object has two characteristics. One is its attributes and second is its behavior. Now, I can tell you one example that what kind of attributes and behavior basically it represents. See, if we take it a name, okay, a age, that are nothing but single attribute represent, and behavior means what basically it shows, like you are running or basically something is singing. So a object may define these two type of functionality as well at the same point. Next is this groups is specifically developed to remove this concept, that is dry concept. Sorry, to basically implement this dry concept, not to remove. Dry concept is nothing but don't run yourself. That is, sorry, it is not don't run, don't repeat. Don't repeat yourself. Basically, to reuse the same thing again and again, don't need to create the same functionality in our code. Now comes to the concept. See, there is a one term that is object oriented. What is basically that term represents? Now, I'm giving you two kind of scenarios. The first scenario is, suppose you are going to shopping. Okay, a normal vegetable market, you can take it a normal supermarket you have gone. So you take one large sack. You have purchasing different kind of vegetables or fruits, okay, or any kind of your grocery item. You are putting the all things inside the sack, inside your sack, okay, and you are basically taking back this thing back to your home. Now the next scenario is, instead of this sack, a normal sack, you took a big backpacks or big kind of a different kind of sacks which have multiple pockets or multiple section for different items. Like for vegetables, it has separate section. For fruits, it has separate section. For your grocery items, it has also separate section, and some others. Now see what is the difference between these scenarios. What is the problem? Basically, you can guess or you can face in the first scenario. You have all the item inside your sacks, you know. Now when you are going to rearrange this thing, okay, you need little bit more time. Am I correct to all of you? Next is, if you are going to take a backpack and you are going to rearrange the same stuff, okay, so you take less time. Am I correct, all of you? Any confusion here? I just took a general example or a general kind of scenario, so basically you can realize. Now in the second scenario, you already know that which section is aimed to which things. That means you already know which person you can do for your grocery item, or which section you can use this for your your food in normal food items. Okay, so basically it has a aimed towards any kind of functionality, right? This object-oriented program concept is developed using this similar kind of concept. Basically, every object has similar kind of aims that you have to build, you have to develop, and it will work by as its own. That's why it is known as that object-oriented programming. Now comes to the different characteristics. So object-oriented OOPS concept comes with different several characteristics of the features that cannot be done using the normal procedural. So first it came, that is class and object. So what is object? I told you briefly. Let's first start with class. The simple definition of the class is it's a blueprint of the object. Or you can say it is okay. Now I have one question to all of you. That is a blueprint. You guys all know about the blueprint, and also you guys know about that design. Now, what is the difference between a blueprint and a design? Anyone? Rishabh? Any cases?
Blueprint are the steps that can be followed to develop a project. And design is a part of that process.
Okay, I basically get you halfway because your audio is not clear. Okay,
Next
part of you is clear.
like example that when we talk about class, definition of a class, the definition of a class is a blueprint.
Yes, difference class. Why it is called the class is a blueprint, not a design. Simple things. Whenever you will see a building structure, you can see a building structure is always named as the blueprint of that entire building. It is not said that the design of the building, right? Because a blueprint is not only talk about its design part, it also talk about the materials or that functionality. Basically, it need to create that building. Okay, that is a blueprint. Similarly, a class is always said a blueprint of a object, because a class is only not only show its design part or a design kind of system, it also represents how the things will be worked by seeing of them or by viewing of them. Okay, that's why class is known as the blueprint of a object. An object is nothing but the physical instantiation of that class. That means a object can hold all the properties that has been defined inside a class, and we can in reality we can define this part. In reality basically we can observe or we can feel that this object is actually present, but in class it is not present. It is not present means it is not physically exist, but logically it is exist. Okay, now this class and object, you guys can see that one term is always noted, that this class does not have any memory, but this object has the memory part. Okay, so as I said that the object is a physical instantiation of that class, so nothing but this object holds the memory. In computer, basically from the computer system we can say that that thing which consumes the memory has the physical instantiation, which does not hold the memory, does not have any physical instantiation. Simple. So a class does not hold any kind of memories. Next is whatever we are going to do, what kind of operation, that you should have to define inside a class. Now this object, the properties, basically the functionalities, they have been defined using the methods. Methods are nothing but function, a normal function, like you all know. But what is the difference between a method and a function? A method is always declared inside a class, and a function is always declared outside a class. When we declare a function inside a class, it is the term is known as a method. Nothing, no physical differences, just from the naming set or from the nomenclature portion. Clear? All? Okay. Now, next is inheritances. Inheritance. Inheritance, you know that when a suppose your father or your parents have some kind of properties, like if your parents have blonde hair and you can have the blonde hair, that is, you can say that this that genetic property is inherited from your parents to the child, similar kind of. So basically here also we can inherit that property or some property from one class to another class for for basically to reuse the same component again and again. Like suppose a parent class have a method running and that running in the child class, basically we only want that properties, that is the running properties, no need to other modification. So basically we can directly inherit that class. Let's speak that class A have that property running and the class B does not have the property running, and I am working on class B, but I want that property. So basically if I create the inheritance relationship in between class A and class B, then I can get the property value inside the class B of the running. So that is inheritance. So in general there are five type of relationship inheritance. Five type of inheritance are there. One is single inheritance, second is multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. Just for concept, these are for just for concept, okay? Because one thing I need to say to all of you, that is this Python does not implement the object oriented concept fully, okay? Because there is some bit of drawbacks are there that I will say after this. So single inheritance is nothing but when the inheritance is done between one class to another class, that is single inheritance. Multi-level means when there is a parent class and it has child class. Then from child class again it has some grandparent or sorry, some grandchild class. Then there is a multi-level inheritance, that is from one parent to second child, from second child to the third child. If that property is inherited, that is multi-level. Next is multiple. Multiple means when a child class is inherited from more than one parent. That is known as that multiple inheritance. Hybrid means nothing but mixing up between these two, multiple or multi-level inheritance. Okay. Any confusion? Just give me 1 minute. So yeah, oh, I am data with this hierarchy. Hierarchy inheritance is nothing but when there is a multiple child from a single parent, that is the hierarchy inheritance. Now, next one is abstraction. What is abstraction? Abstraction is this particular special kind of characteristics basically where we represents only that particular portion which are need to be represented. That means we can hide some of its portion to the client and basically represent only that section. That is nothing but the abstraction or data hiding technique. So in Python, there was in the older version, there was no truly abstraction technique, but in recent version, there is one kind of special class, that abstract class we can implement to provide the abstraction. But most of the time, this property is not required in Python abstraction. Next is polymorphism. Polymorphism, from the definition you can know, that is a something that can have multiple forms or multiple functionalities. That is polymorphism. So a polymorphism we can achieve in Python a polymorphism using two ways. One is overloading and overriding. So overloading basically in Python, yeah, it is possible overloading also, but in Python most of the time we use overriding technique. Because as in Python, there is no predefined data type at the time of the method definition. That means Python, you guys all know that Python is a dynamically declared or dynamically casting language. Okay, so at the time of the definition, you don't need to define what type of the data you are going to capture using that method. It is dynamically it is. So using that way, we are not able to achieve the overloading. But we can use the overriding multiple times in our times system in our times scenarios. The last one is it is encapsulation. Encapsulation is nothing but it is a technique that is used to bind the data and its corresponding object in a single portion. Now, if I'm going to talk about the encapsulation in basically in other programming languages like the Java and this all, you can have, if you already knew about this language, then you can go through with these two kind of method, that is getter and setter. Okay, so in Python there is no directly implementation of the getter and setter method, but yeah, we can do this thing that we will do in the later classes in separate way. So in encapsulation, basically it is used data and its corresponding objects bind in a single functionality. Okay. So as I told you about the getter and setter method, so these two method has a special functionality. Getter method is used to get the value from a class or from a block of code or from a file, and setter method is basically used to set the data. And this whole getter method and setter method, its corresponding object is binded inside a class into a single portion. So what is the advantage of this encapsulation? The main advantage is you don't need to call the method or call or create the other methods again and again for these functionalities. Simple, you have already these 2 to 3 methods. If you know, just push the data through the method, it will be saved automatically. If you want to the data, just take it from the setter call. Second disadvantage is encapsulations provide a little bit of security towards the system. That means you cannot use the variable directly, the particular variable or class variable directly inside inside your class. Okay, clear all? Any confusions? Any question? All right. Then let's start with some techniques. First, you guys already know that in method basically we declare using the def keyword in Python. To declare a class, we need to use the class keyword. But this is a case sensitive. Always try to use this class as a smaller case. Basically, these are the reserved keyword. Let's create a class of employee. Some portion you can check. You can see that after this class name, a bracket is present. In some portion, you can see that this bracket is not present. Okay, so if you are going to perform any kind of inheritance, do this. Declare a class using the bracket or the first braces. But if there is no kind of inheritance, then don't need to represent it. You can directly remove it from it. Now, simple and passing. You guys knew about this pass statement, all of you. What is the functionality of this pass statement?
So if we just want to define a class, then we are not really to enter anything inside the class. Then you just
Yeah, it's similar basically to the pass statement is represented to do nothing. Simple. Suppose a function we have created and I simply use the pass statement. So calling the function, it basically do nothing. Then why we basically required? That is the case, right? This pass basically where it is used to do nothing, to show nothing, then why this keyword has used? The main requirement advantage is sometimes in some program concept, okay, you might have the future references for that. Suppose I have 5 function, I only require to declare 3 function now, but remaining 2 you don't need to declare it now. But based on that, you have to create a complete scenario. What I am trying to say that is, suppose I gave you to create a school database or school structure. Okay, so you created, there is a 3 method. Okay, one method for teacher, one method for students, and another method for guardians. So you know a school is always bounded by the teacher and student, they have to be present. But the guardian data, sometimes it is not required formally as this first two is required. So in first time, as on the requirement, you just created that particular method, do the pass statement, and create the whole functionality, whole pipeline, and the whole structure. Later you implement whenever you require it. That is one way. Second is to create a abstract class using the pass statement. That is another kind of statement. But yeah, in Pythonic way, we don't require it mostly. So now let's create a object of this Python class. How to create? That is object of this Python class. Check. Let's run that stuff and what we can do. Let's check it. I'm basically printing the class, nothing but the same place. Let's go ahead. See what it called. This underscore main, basically what it represents, it is a special kind of method in Python. You guys can see that is one is underscore main underscore string these are the special method in Python. So why these all represent using the double underscore, nothing more. These are the reserved. Okay, you can create this functionality. And another formatted name of this method are constructor. I think you guys are familiar with the constructor. If it is not, then I'm sorry. A constructor is a special kind of method. Special kind of method that is used to create that is used to create the object in a class. Remember this. A constructor is a special kind of method that is used to create the object in a class. But in Python, there is no formatted constructor, or there is no defined constructor that we use in other languages. Because what is the drawback in Python constructor rather than the other constructor? The drawback is in Python there is a constructor. The rules of the constructor are: first is it should be same name as the class name. And it does not return statement. But in Python, this way, this first criteria that I have been written down, that is not applicable. That's why in Python constructor is kind of different rather than a normal constructor, a normal system constructor. Next is, but a constructor is always called to initialize the value or initialize the object in a Python. Next is, you guys can see in some different area that a constructor does not have any return value. Okay, but that is not completely true. A constructor always return, because constructor is also a function, and from the definition, function always return a value. So a constructor returns the reference of the object. Remember this thing. So if somewhere it is written that the constructor does not return any value, that is not completely true. Constructor returns value, but it does not have any return statement attached with its definition. So now we are clear with this thing. This thing is nothing but we can say Python constructor. And dot employee is nothing but this is main. That means our main method. Main method, I think you all of guys clear. That is that particular method which can be called from the Python interpreter, right? Because Python interpreter or compiler, not compiler, it's interpreter directly call from the main method. Remember this, it will not find any other method. First it check there is any main method present is or not, but as it is there is if there is no main method is present, then it will throw the error. Then from the main method it has several characteristics or several attributes. One attribute is nothing but that's class. If I show here, then you can check, but that is not oops person that I will show you later. And I have one question that see in my Python programming languages, okay, there is no any main method. Have I written any main method here? Anyone? Any guesses? Are you able to see my screen? All of you?
So there is no main method.
Your voice is not clear. I'm not able to get you basically.
So main method is not written in the class employee, but it is inbuilt.
Here main method is different. So basically see whatever I am writing it down, inside this .py file. It is by automatically is written inside the main method, because at the time compiled, at the time when this thing is compiled, then it will so then it basically it will compile from the main method. If I will take some later classes, then I will show that this thing, this particular file is compiled from the main method, and other the files are not compiled from the main method. But first finish with this statement. So now we have a employee. Employee is nothing but our object. So let's print it out. See. Now see, I told you that a object has a physical reference. This is the physical reference that Python is providing. Okay, but at class, is there any kind of this is nothing but the location, the memory location where basically it consumed. Okay, but in class name, see, there is no object, is no memory location is present. Okay, now you can clearly see that a object has a physical instantiation, but a class there is no memory, it consumes. And in that is nothing but console, nothing but that interpreted label. This employee, basically it is nothing but one object that is represented by nothing but employee object. Okay, there may be different kind of objects, all of them represented just like this. Now I have just taken a first, nothing but. So this is nothing but a variable. And what type of variable it is? Global variable. Clear? I think all of you clear about this global variable and local variable. So it is a global variable because it is declared outside of any kind of function, and that can be accessible throughout any component inside that Python file. Now, these two now as a global variable, but if I do the same thing, then what happened? Basically, now this first name and last name, these are not global. They are bounded by that particular class, nothing but that particular objects. Let me show you first how we can do. Now it is printing. Now see, as it is, it has already been compiled. The variable are there. That way it is printing. How? Okay, as it is. Let me do it. See, now we are getting error. Basically this first name and last name is already declared and it is compiled, so in variable definition these are already present, that's why it is not showing any error. But when I show this string, now see it is not defined and it is not global, so we cannot call it this outside this particular class. We cannot call it outside this particular class without a particular way to define it. That means now it is not a member of globally, you cannot call it directly, you have to assign, you have to call it through either class or object. Now it is printed, so let's do this. Now basically now let's, no need to declare it from outside as it is bounded by this particular class, let's declare it from it. Next, now I call this all the variable using that method, using the object. Can I call the all thing using the class name? See, there will be no error, we can call it. So what is the difference between these two things, right? There is always a confusion, so let me show you. Before that, this object, let me tell you one thing, this object, okay, that object is basically dependent on that instantiation of that class. That means suppose here I initiate the object with no value, that means this value are predefined. But suppose I created one employee object using resolve or resolve details, next I create another employee object using need job details. So these two objects are completely different because they does not have the same value present. But for that class, basically for the class, the nature and the resolve, this both are basically similar or the equal. It cannot be distinguished between these two. How I can so tell you this? Let me show you. There is one special kind of method, that is init. Init is used to initialize some particular value using the init method. So, acha, before that, everyone clear up to this thing? Any confusion or any issue? So, suppose I wanted to do with, let's do this. I am passing two variables. Suppose result class. Now see, when I'm passing this to a variable, there is one kind of notification that is error. That's expected. I did okay, no issue. Actually, why it is it? Because this employee. Now see, I am passing this reserve value and the das value when at the time of the object creation. So I have to reload it. Where it will go? It will go to the init method, nothing but that particular Python constructor. So let's, I need to hold these two value as it. Now these two value I do not require. And now I need to store it. In init method, basically it will initialize the class variable or instance variable or any kind of variable inside the class. So I have to store it now. Let's run. So I have this first name. If equal to first name, a equal to now there is two error. Let's run it. See, there is one error. It is said that this init method is given. We are providing the init method only two position argument, but it is expecting three. Why it is expecting three? As I told you that a Python does not have its defined constructor rather than the other programming language has. So that's why we need to pass one thing. We need to pass another value that will represent that it belongs to your class. That means when I am sending the reserve value through calling the class. So let me show you one thing. In other programming language like Java, if suppose your class name is employee, then the constructor name should be employee. Yeah, that should be constructor name. So by seeing these two things, I know that about that functionality, I know that whatever we are going to call using this employee, basically it will take this argument to the employee reference. That is done at that assemble level of the language. That it's already identified that this comes to that particular that class or that object reference. But in Python, this kind of functionality does not happen by its own. You have to be defined that these value are coming from this line, that is 40 line, not from this 41. That's why you need to pass one reference, nothing but the class reference. So now I am sending this employee name, nothing but this employee as the reference of the class, and I can show employee the first name and as well as employee the last name. Now sorry. Employee dot first name, employee last name. Now what it realized, this employee dot first name, it is now it is belongs to that particular employee variable. So when I do this stuff, this two line, it will create one variable, nothing but this kind of variable, the class variable, and it will store the value what is passed through the first name. That will nothing but the result, as well as for the last name also. Okay, so let's print down. there is one error that I have written. There should be the object name should be unique. Remember. I need to do this stuff. This value thing. Now here there is one very small drawbacks or very little drawback is present. That is this employee. The employee is nothing but it is not dependent. It is a class. So a class is basically same for all of its functionality. That means all of its method. That value should be same. How we can check it from there? If we use, let's see. This dict basically nothing but it show all of the properties that is bounded by that particular object. Nothing but dict. It represents the dictionary format. That's why. Let's print it out. See this employee, which properties are have it is nothing but this of a first name and thus a last name, and it prints as a dictionary format. Similar for the second object as well. But now see, if I do the same thing, but now I'm doing using the class name. Now you guys see that there is a vast of thing that is in present. See, and as well as the one thing you guys can clearly see that is that employee.init at 01 some value. That means when I use this thing, basically this is represent. That means its object has been created by somehow, and there is some location, so it takes that. But this employee basically it is spread throughout all the objects. That's why we don't use employee keyword here. Instead of that, we use self keyword. Self keyword is a special kind of thing. Basically, it automatically identifies which comes from that particular one object on the one class. So by visual, there is no definition. You can see as it is same, but conceptually, that is the little difference between these two. That's how we can initialize a particular class. Okay, clear? Now, similar way, we can create a method as well. And we have to define this self keyword. So I think you guys are familiar with this thing, the format method. If your stream is completed. This saved first nothing but this thing, the class variable, not this one. Remember. For now, I'm just commenting this thing. Let's check what it will print. Now, when I use this thing, as I'm telling you the differences, when I use this thing by objecting, so when I use object dot full name, so this full name method, see what I am passing here, I am passing one the particular class reference. How the reference is getting nothing but this one employee. Okay, and now from the self it is printing the stuff. Now if I do the similar thing using the class name, what happened? You can clearly see that is it will throw an error. The full name missing one argument. That means now the full name came. From here, it has that class reference. Okay. In class reference, there is no variable store. This one. From this thing, see, there is no employee name, there is no resolve, there is no nature is present. So it is not identifying what is this first name present, why it is the last name present, because it does not belongs to that object properties, it belongs to that class properties. So it is throwing, that's why the error. It is required one person argument the same. Clear all? So if I do the same thing using the next method, sorry, the next object, you can see that there is no error. And in Python object oriented, you need to do this stuff. You don't need to create abstraction, you don't need to create polymorphism, this stuff. Automatically this thing, this is very easy, but only this portion you need to understand, you need to realize. Let's do another stuff thing. This is a normal method. Next, create a static method. Before that, let's create a class method. The class method is nothing but it's a similar method like the instance method, but a class method is always bounded by the class rather than its object. That means we can call or we can do the stuff using the class name directly. Stick. Now, in class method, basically, instead of this self keyword, I can use this CLS keyword. Simple, I'm using the CLS keyword. So let's see, let's dot. One second, just. Now, see, it is shown that there is no attribute. The employee in the that a class does not have any attribute nickname. How you can define, how you can check that it is belongs to that particular class or not object? Just simply do this step. There is no method is present. Okay. Now, to represent this thing, basically, we have to use one annotation. Represent that particular class method. So to represent that class method, you can use this class method technique. Spelling is mistaken. So this method is called, and now this method, this class method is not bounded by the object. It is bounded by the class. That's why you can directly call it using the class. That is that we are getting error in the previous way. But here, see, we are getting basically nothing but the references. So let's do this one stuff. Let's not directly print this thing. Let's return this as an object. The string as an object. Okay. Now this nickname, basically it is written as an object from this by calling out this nickname method. Okay. So now I don't require this class variable here also as well. Just directly you can print it. Now let's do it. Let's create another object. Simply define. See. XYZ. screen. Yeah. So let's change this stuff to direct. So So I call this method. Why I'm getting this error? Nothing but uh, while I converting this string as an object, there is one issue. That's why this line has issue. That's why it's not getting. So I send it one value through this method, that is make method, and it returns the substring value of this given name, and it is printed. Now this nickname basically it is not bounded by any this object, any kind of object. We can directly call this thing using the class name. So let's pass this other object as well using this statement. So it is done. There is a class variable, class method, and there is another method, the last method, that is static method. This is similar of this. That is similar of this class method. Okay, just do that. This is similar of this class method. Only difference is that you need not to define any kind of this keyword here as well. Just let's sending it's there and let's return that. Just basic. I'm not doing any kind of functionality here. Print. Here also you can call it using the e variable, using the class name. Let's pass a value. Just fast forward. Now it is 24. So this static method and this class method, both are similar. They are not dependent on that object. They are more close to the class, and it is spread out throughout all the method. But only difference between these two methods is accessing this static method, we don't require to any kind of self keyword or class keyword. Now here you can use a self keyword as well. There is no error or no issue. But for from the definition or from the designing part, if it is basically special kind of keyword is created to declare a class method reference, to declare a class reference inside a class method. You can use a self keyword as well. It will be no error here. This is the normal method, or we can say instance method. Clear all? Okay. Then the inheritance portion is pending, that I will do in the next day as well. And that's all. Any confusion still? Today I'm about to finish. Any issues? So the main things that I already told you, that this every functionality you don't need to represent. Okay, this class object is done. Next day I will show you inheritance. This abstraction we can easily create it using this pass method that I will show in the next day. Overloading is not supported in Python. You can do the overloading in our customized way, but that is not the point. In generalistic way, overloading is not possible, but overriding is possible, that we can do after inheritance. Encapsulation, we can do that. Okay. So that's all for today. We will connect in the next day regarding the revenue process. Okay, then I'm stop sharing my screen. It will be shared. Bye bye. Pooja, you can stop sharing the screen, or you can stop the recording as well.